Hello, everyone, and welcome back to another episode of your All Elite Week. This time, we're going to be going over the Dynamite 15th of August show, the Rampage 17th of August show, and the Collision 18th of August show. Apologies for the missed upload earlier this week. I wasn't feeling too well, so I'm recording this same day this is going out on the Tuesday, which is 20th. Yeah. Without further ado, let's get straight into it with Dynamite. The Dynamite starts off with a Mercedes Moné and Camille versus Hikaru Shida match. Nothing much to say about the match. It was an okay match. The main points was like a nice Meteora from Mercedes after Camille blocks the apron running knee thing that Hikaru Shida does. Another thing, there was a Three Amigos that Mercedes was doing, which Shida counters after the two duplexes into a Falcon Arrow. Fucking great. Finish to the match is that Shida goes to unsheath the katana when he gets rolled out by Camille. Then Shida chooses to get revenge on Camille with a kendo stick, the one she brings to the ring. Moné ends up grabbing the kendo stick to distract the ref. And then while the ref is distracted, Camille takes out Shida with a big boot. Then Shida gets rolled in, 1, 2, 3. There's Moné wins. The DMD's music hits then, Brick Breaker. Camille runs straight to the ramp, but nobody comes out, and then attacks a random fan with a DMD over CEO sign. With the devil mask on, so you can't tell who it is. Turns out Britt isn't this masked fan, however, as Britt comes in from the crowd and gets Moné in the lockjaw until Camille eventually saves her. Segment ends with Britt just standing tall, doing the DMD pose, all that stuff. Following this, we have a Jay Lethal and Jeff Jarrett interview with Renee, where they say that Hangman's been a thorn in their side for a while now, until Hangman comes in on this and just wipes out Jay Lethal and Jarrett, and drags Lethal out to the ring as he just beats him down throughout. This then leads straight into their match that they were meant to have. One quite fun part was Jay Lethal doing 5 suicide dives to Hangman while he's against the barricade. It was fucking sick. Apologies, sorry. Hangman, following up from this, hits a Deadeye onto the apron and then rams him into the barricade and the timekeeper's area as well. Just so sick. Hangman does that to Jay Lethal. The match ends, however, with a massive discus lariat from Hangman as Hangman jumps the ropes to get in position for the buckshot lariat for the 3 count. Pretty nothing match, really. Quite fun, but nothing major. Next up, we have footage from the RevPro pay-per-view. I can't remember what it was called. I know it's their big summer one. I can't remember the name of it, though. Sorry. Pretty much, it was the one they had last week on a Sunday where MGF faced Oku for the American title. Pretty much just showing what happened, how he hits the Tiger Driver 91 on Oku, and then proceeds to try to hit it on the manager woman that he's got with him until Ospreay runs out and saves the two of them. In this, we also get a Will Ospreay vignette and an MGF vignette about how they got to AEW, how they're above the rest in AEW, and the main point of those was pretty much that MGF is still the ace of AEW, and that he has to be what it takes. He has what it takes to be champion, whereas Ospreay doesn't make the cut because he's too afraid of the Tiger Driver 91, which Danielson, the person who's afraid because he apparently injured, is main eventing Wembley. So, the story's kind of, it's a bit iffy, to be honest with you, but regardless, I'm still looking forward to the match. We then have a Pac promo, where Pac pretty much just says that he's the number 1 contender for the international title, not Ospreay. He's sick of being overlooked and manipulated. And Pac announces that he's going to face whoever wins the All-In match at All Out 2 weeks later. Be quite interesting, quite fun. After this, we then get another vignette, this time of Darby Allin talking about his independent run before joining AEW and how he was homeless during that time. And that as a juxtaposition, Jungle Boy was just a friend of the Elite, which is very true. That's what happened. That's how he got in. And didn't have to work for every bit of a chance to get into AEW that Darby had to. Darby wishes Jack got fired last year. And then following this, it was meant to be a match, I think, with Jack Perry, I think. Or it might have just been a match anyway, but then basically, Darby's coming out for his entrance. Jack Perry runs out and hits a flying knee into Darby while he's having his entrance. This fight goes backstage as Perry just absolutely brutalizes Darby. Crosses his chest with a garage door, like the sliding metal doors, a shutter door. And then Perry goes to squish Darby with like one of those. How do I describe it? It's like an equipment box that like crews will put like their cameras and mics and stuff like that in. Those like big black boxes. But he takes that. He's about to just actually smash Darby's head in. But staff get involved just before it's about to hit him and push it to one side. And then after this, the camera zooms in on Jack Perry, demanding a coffin match for Wembley, which Tony Khan has made official. So it will be a coffin match for the TNT title, Jack Perry versus Darby Allin. So looking forward to. Next up, we have another vignette. My God, I really feel like they could have spaced these out a little bit better than what they've done, but regardless. In the vignette, she talks about how Tony failed last year at All In and didn't get the win. She then burns the old, like, Tony Storm, like, 2021 outfit that Mariah wore while she was under Tony Storm's tutelage, and finishes it with, "Don't worry, darling, we're both going to die. I just get to write your eulogy." Such a good line. Really, really, really good. Fucking love that vignette. Amazing, did what it needed to do. The other vignettes were also really good as well. Mina Shirakawa then has an interview with Renee, says she's heartbroken, can't believe they're the same people, and pretty much just says, "I don't want anybody to get hurt seriously." So really just not taking any sides in the feud at all. I'm interested to see what role she'll play at All In. She's going to help Mariah or not. But next up, we have an actual match. Wrestling on my wrestling show. Get in. This is between Orange Cassidy, Roderick Strong, and Kyle O'Reilly to decide who will be the number one entry for the Casino Gauntlet match at All In Wembley Stadium. Really, really fun match. Really liked this one. Fast-paced offense right from the start. Kyle opens the ropes for Cassidy to like roll through after they spill out to the outside. Cassidy refuses to do this, so as a fellow conglomeration member, and just rolls under them instead. The match starts to slow down, pretty much like sort of midway through it, as Kyle and Cassidy will do some moves as Roddy tries to get in between them. Pretty much just like those two having a match, and them isolating Roderick Strong outside of the ring so they can carry on their match. This all stops when Roderick Strong hits multiple backbreakers to both of them. Later on into the match, a really, really cool spot was that after some counter pins with Kyle and Cassidy, Kyle gets Cassidy into the sleeper hold, as Roddy then goes to get both in a Boston Crab as well. Just like stacked on top of each other, turned over, Boston Crab. Really, really fun. Following this a little bit later on, after it gets broken up, Kyle O'Reilly gets Roderick Strong in a guillotine as well, but is ultimately broken up by an elbow drop from the top rope from Cassidy, which looked quite fun. At this point, my playback started lagging a lot. I don't know if this was just like mine or just a general thing, but it got real bad at this match in particular for some reason. Mike Bennett, Matt Taven, Briscoe, and Ishii are all out at this point now. I assume because the Kingdom interfered. And then Mark and Ishii then come out to help Conglomeration, I assume. Anyway, I assume it's because the Kingdom interfered. But Cassidy hits a tope suicida to Roderick Strong, looks really nice. Kyle tries to do the same, but Roddy catches him and smashes him on the apron. Cassidy goes to look under the table, under the ring for a table, sorry, as the crowd has been chanting, "We want tables" for quite a while now. Roddy baseball slides him going out of the ring, then Roddy goes around the entire ring looking for a table, and each time he looks up, doesn't see one, looks down, sorry, looks up then after not seeing one, goes, "Sorry." It goes to the next side, does that all 4 sides, which I thought was really fun. Until the crowd just ultimately go, "Ah," like really sadly at the end after the no table, which I thought was quite a fun thing, even though he's a heel. Later on into the match, we get a Roderick Strong and Kyle like chop and kick fest as they both hit Cassidy down once until Cassidy does the slow to fast kicks on both of them. It's the chop and kick fest is between those two. And then Cassidy tries to get involved, but it gets knocked down once by Roderick and then once by Kyle until Cassidy then goes to do the fast kick. Pretty much completely turns the tide, ends that sequence with a beach break to Roderick Strong for the 2.9 as well. Eventually, after this, Kyle gets Cassidy into the Jujikatami and then gets Roderick Strong into a heel hook as well, before Cassidy eventually breaks out of the Jujikatami and saves Roderick Strong with a punt kick to Kyle O'Reilly. Really, really fun. I loved that visual and sequence. Sorry, apologies. Following this, Kyle and Cassidy plan to team up for the high-low, where they'll hit somebody high and then sweep their legs as well. Strong avoids this though, and instead Kyle and Strong do it to Cassidy as they both immediately go for the pin. Ref notifies them you can't pin both at once. Then this is followed by heavy strikes and a running knee strike to Cassidy, and more strikes as Kyle gets Roderick Strong in the Jujikatami, but is cost by Cassidy rolling him up into a crucifix pin, get him the win, meaning Cassidy will be the first entrant into the Casino Gauntlet match at All In Stadium. Next up, we have the interview one-on-one with Okada and Claudio. Claudio says that he saw the title as his title, even though he never held it, and that Cardiff will be the first Dynamite ever in Europe. I'm going to be there. Cannot wait for tomorrow. Okada claps at this and makes fun of his passion. Says he's the best tournament fighter and he's won 4 G1 climaxes, and says that he will continue to be the best tournament fighter as he beats Claudio in Cardiff. Okada then says, "Good luck, bitch," as he laughs when he leaves. Claudio doesn't seem shaken by this though. Instead, he demands to see the old Okada that is the 4-time G1 climax winner instead of the elite's lackey that he has become. Claudio finishes his segment with a very cleverly put, "In Cardiff you'll have 99 problems and this bitch will be one." Really, really good segment. I'm so looking forward to this match, and I can't believe I get to see it live in person, to be honest. Like this is like dream match territory for me, and I'm so fucking excited. But regardless, I can't talk about that or else I'll be here for hours. Next up, we have a Patriarchy interview, where Renee asks who will challenge them for the titles at All In. Kay said he ruled it perfectly down the middle. Of course he did. And declares he's still going for all the belts and that the trios are a vehicle for the World Heavyweight bout. Obviously, he said that he wanted to go for all the belts when he first joined. Still holding true to that. After this, he declares that he will hold all the titles at once. That in case says that Nick Wayne will face Kip Sabian on this week's episode of Rampage, and shouts at Renee to leave as he finishes the segment by saying that Renee is just as bad at being a parent as she is an interviewer, and declares the Patriarchy as the face of TBS. Quite fun. After this, we then get a Hook promo with Tony Schiavone. I didn't realize how many promos there were in this fucking show. Jesus Christ. yeah, so there's a Hook promo afterwards. Hook has a bandage on one eye, says he can't see out of it. That Jericho still has a problem as he can still see with his other eye. And that he can see Jericho and he's sick of his shit and demands the title match. Jericho comes out and calls Hook a stupid son of a bitch, says, "You want to fight?" repeatedly, then backs down, announces the match at All In, and that match is Hook's final chance to win the new For the World Championship. In Cardiff, it will be Hook versus Big Bill, and Big Bill says he's going to beat Hook down and shove him straight up Taz's ass, which is quite fun. Hook accepts and is excited to dump the dumb big. I'm having a stroke. He's excited to dump Big Bitch on his head instead of Big Bill. And after Hook says that after Wembley, Hook says after Wembley, Hook will never be the same again. I think I've made a mistake there. I think that's meant to say Jericho will never be the same again, but I've written Hook twice. I feel like that's meant to say Hook says Jericho will never be the same again after Wembley. So I'm going with that. Sorry. I was very tired when I wrote these notes, so that may have played a part in it, as you can tell. But anyway, next up we have the Young Bucks versus the Acclaimed. The Acclaimed run out to attack the Young Bucks during their entrance, to which the Acclaimed throw the Young Bucks off the stage as Bowens then suicide dives onto the both of them, as they eventually get the Young Bucks into the ring. The Young Bucks start running the ropes and baseball slide the two, and then do the over-the-top standing dive, like the standing jump onto the ropes, then jump over, to both of them as the match is officially started now. Billy Gunn comes out as well in support of the Acclaimed at ringside. Honestly, it's quite a fun match. Big tag team moves from both teams until Matt goes to the outside and is caught between Caster and Gunn. Matt runs past Caster to set Caster up for the punt kick by Nicholas, which is quite fun. Nicholas then runs around the ring as Gunn follows him, and Gunn holds up the chair to attack Nicholas while Nicholas is crouched down in the corner. The referee sees this and ejects Billy Gunn from the match, even though he didn't hit him at all. The Young Bucks then try their corner duo hit, but Caster avoids this. As the Young Bucks hit each other instead, and then Caster gets a tag into Bowens. Crowd massive pop. Yeah. So then the Young Bucks pretty much in control of this match completely up until now. They do the pumping spot as they fake targeting Bowens and then turn around to knock Caster off the apron with two super kicks, which I thought was quite fun. And they then turn to Bowens, but Bowens knocks both down. Knocks both of them down. A little bit later on, we get all four men countering each other in the ring with Irish whips until eventually all four try a clothesline. That knocks each member down. Nicholas tries to hit the senton, but Caster gets the knees up, and then Bowens gets powerbombed onto the ramp. Fucking gnarly as well. So really, really good. Following this, Caster is left alone in the ring as the Young Bucks try the Tony Khan driver or TK driver. I don't know. I think it's called the Tony Khan driver. I don't know. So I'm just going to say TK driver because I know that's the anagram. But the ref gets squished by Matt and Max, which opens up Caster to get low blowed by Matthew. Matthew then gets the tag belts and goes to hit Caster, but is stopped by FTR. Dax refuses to hit Matt with the belt, but Matt spits in Dax's face. Dax freaks out, attacks Matthew Jackson with the belt, ending the match in a DQ. The Acclaimed and FTR then get into a fight. And then following this, it cuts to Christopher Daniels backstage talking with Renee to see it as a simple solution where the Acclaimed will face FTR on Collision to decide who gets to be the challenger for the tag belts at All In for Wembley Stadium. Next up, we then get another vignette, this time Danielson going over his career and his time in AEW, played over Green Day's Time of Your Life. Ending the vignette package with, "If you fight for your dreams will fight for you." I'm kind of iffy on the story where they're going with it, where Danielson's okay with ending his career, but then at the same time, he doesn't want to end his career yet. There's sort of like a juxtaposition. I get what they're doing, having like, I nearly broke my neck against Osprey with the Tiger Drive. I get that part of it. I just wish it was sort of executed a bit better. But anyway, got another week to maybe do something different this week on Dynamite. I don't know, maybe, hopefully. But main event, Swerve versus Wheeler Yuta, Danielson in the crowd. This match was fucking amazing. Really, really liked it. It's fast-paced right out of the gate. It spills the outside immediately. Swerve's bashing Yuta's head against the barricade right in front of Danielson. Gets in his face, screaming, "He's nothing to me, he's just an appetizer." Wheeler tries to beat Swerve's strength advantage throughout the match with fast, heavy strikes, to which Danielson cheers on Yuta from the crowd as the crowd start to get behind Yuta and clapping to fire him up. Eventually, Swerve realizes the fast-paced sort of style, goes to counter that by getting Wheeler Yuta locked into ground submissions on the legs as he slowly applies pain to Yuta on all of his extremities, until Yuta's eventually able to break free. Although Swerve drags him up from the ground all the way up into a powerbomb position, which was fucking amazing. Yuta counters this powerbomb into a Hurricane Rana into the second rope turnbuckle, and then suicide dives to the outside, and then tries a top rope move, but Swerve counters it with a label lock. I thought it was really, really cool and really good. Pardon me, sorry. Throughout the match, Wheeler Yuta uses quite a lot of Danielson's offense, like the hammer and anvil elbows into the pin. Eventually tries a cow mutilation as well, but Swerve just eventually powers out, and showing the big discrepancy between the two. Yuta goes back to his striking style, but Swerve starts no-selling this, until Yuta kicks Swerve in the midsection, leading Swerve to be able to hit the uppercut headbutt onto Yuta, which turns the tide. Swerve proceeds to hit 3 house calls, and then follows up by doing the Danielson stomps and starts beating Yuta down on the floor, causing the ref to just end the match. There's no pin, the ref just stops the match because he can't go on. Danielson runs in to save Yuta at this point. Swerve grabs a mic, says that this was just an example of what's to come, and that Swerve says when his family's there in the front row where Danielson was, they get to see Swerve mutilate Danielson in front of them so bad, so that Brian can keep his promise to his daughters and retire after that match. Swerve runs back out after leaving to hit a house call onto Danielson, and then proceeds to do the yes chants slowly over the corpses of both Yuta and Bryan Danielson. Really, really strong way to finish the show, and just great fuel for this feud as well. Amazing, amazing feud. And even though I've got my reservations about how it's been handled a little bit, it's really, really exciting. Like, every week, I want to see more of Swerve Danielson, and I'm getting it. I can't complain, and I can't wait for this week either. But anyway, that was Dynamite. Quite a fun week. Quite a fun show, sorry. To be honest, you could probably avoid the Mercedes Moné Shida match. You saw just setting up the DMD interference. The Cassidy Strong Kyle O'Reilly match, I would very much recommend watching. Very, very fun match. Young Bucks Acclaimed. Again, you can, if you didn't want to watch it, I can understand, you can skip that one. But the Swerve Yuta, I highly recommend. Well, that match was really... I really like the Young Bucks Acclaimed match. But if you're not a fan of the Young Bucks or the Acclaimed, I can understand I wanted to watch it. But anyway, that was Dynamite. And then let's get straight into Rampage. Which starts with the Outrunners, with Erica Lee and the Butcher versus Mark Briscoe, Cassidy, and Tomohiro Ishii with Kyle O'Reilly on commentary. Pretty much a nothing match, really. Butcher drags Mark out the ring and slams against the barricade. Then there's a backbreak on the barricade. And then, like, the main takeaway I got from this match, to be honest, was how good the Outrunners are at selling. They make every move look amazing. Like every kick, every punch, every like body slam, they make it look really, really good. And they're like people that you need on this, just able to do that. Moves wise, the only notable thing aside from the finish was the suicide dive that Cassidy does to the Outrunners, and then throws his chair in the ring as Mark catches it, signals for the suicide dive. Butcher intervenes and gets in the way of it. Cassidy comes in, sits on that chair that Briscoe put down, while Briscoe is in the powerbomb position with the Butcher, causing Cassidy to hit the Butcher with an orange punch, clearing the way for Briscoe to suicide dive to the Outrunners. And then Mark Briscoe wins the match with a J Driller to Turbo Floyd for the 3 count. And that's the match. Nothing really in it, to be honest. It's just there to have a match. Much like the next match, which is Nyla Rose versus Erica Lee, the woman that was with the Outrunners before, debuting here on AEW TV as well. Match starts immediately as the last one ends, literally as the conglomeration is leaving the stage. Nyla Rose's music hits and then comes out. While the Outrunners are still in the ring, Nyla demolishes Erica and wins with the Beast Bomb for the 3 count. Literally not got any other notes. It was not important. This was just a squash match. Following this, we then get a Saraya and Harley Cameron promo. Fucking kill me now. Harley says that it's Saraya's birthday, so birthday Saraya, even though this is like 4 days late now, but regardless, happy birthday. 5 days late. But nobody said anything to her as Harley starts singing happy birthday. Saraya stops her. Then Saraya starts complaining again about the last year of her life and how neglected she's been. Tony Storm then announces a match on Dynamite next week for the title in Cardiff. Why? Oh my god, I can't believe I have to sit down and watch a Saraya match on the same show as a Claudio Ogata match. This is utter hell. But anyway, moving on. We get an Acclaimed vignette bigging up the match they're going to have on Collision against FTR. Nothing really else of note. Next up, after that though, we have the Nick Wayne versus Kip Sabian match. To be honest, nothing really much to talk about here either. There was a great enziguri for the top rope to Nick Wayne on the apron as Wayne falls to the outside. Kip then hits a springboard moonsault to the outside. Mother Wayne ends up distracting Kip Sabian at some point as Nick then proceeds to wrap his arm around the turnbuckle and sort of pull on it to injure the arm. Sort of like an arm rake, kind of. The best way I can describe it. Then Nick Wayne starts targeting that same arm and shoulder throughout the rest of the match. Wayne proceeds to win the match with 2 distractions from Mother Wayne and kill switch, so Nick can hit the Wayne's World for the 3 count. And that's it. Nothing really happened, to be honest. Following this, we get a private party comedy promo where Scorpion Sky is denied entry to the party. Brandon Cutler is allowed into the party, but Scorpion Sky isn't until Private Party come out and let him in. For some reason, I don't know why that was a promo. Not too sure, to be honest. I just feel like there could be better things to put on Rampage, but whatever. Next up, we have a Kyle Fletcher and Roosh with Don Callis versus KM and Rhett Titus. The only thing of note to say about this match is the ending, which Roosh gets the win with the ball rush to Rhett as Kyle clears the way by kicking KM off the apron to allow Roosh to hit the ball rush dominant match. That part was quite cool. Literally nothing else. Pardon me, sorry. The whole point of the match really is just so they can get out the this little promo segment after the match where Don says that he knows what Roosh is now after Preston. Roosh demands for Don to show Roosh something big as Roosh just proceeded to put Preston in storyline in hospital. Roosh then walks away as Don asks Kyle what's wrong, as he's sitting sort of neglected looking on the steps. Fletcher proceeds to apologize for not following orders last week when he was given the screwdriver. But Don says they're family, that he doesn't have to apologize about anything, and also starts calling Kyle the Golden Goose now, a title that was reserved for Will Ospreay until he left. Now, assumingly, Kyle is the next Golden Goose. Following this, we have our main event for Rampage this week, which is Top Flight with Action Andretti and Lila Gray. They're all dressed up in like sort of flight attendant outfits, which is quite fun, versus Maximum Male Models and Leah Rush on commentary as well. Leah Rush came out with Top Flight, not with Male Models. It was a fun match, more sort of like comedy match, but regardless, like we had Dante catching Mansoor as Mansoor tries to jump over while running the ropes. Dante then like steps over Mansoor after hitting him with a move and poses to infuriate him. Marseille hits a massive hip attack. I think to Darius, but it might be Dante. I think. Leo on commentary asks, "Is that legal?" Which is quite fun. Maximum Male Models gets sent outside, and Layla Gray sits on the apron and signals the landing zone for Top Flight's suicide dive, which looked really, really fun. Mansoor gets Darius in a hold and then says no more flying as Marseille shouts this is fly zone. At some point in the match, I believe it's Darius. Darius is down at this part of the match. Mansoor's in the ring as well in the center. Layla Gray gets on the apron and starts flirting with Mansoor, and then Marseille begins to do the same on the opposite side as full buy panic kicks in for Mansoor as they both start posing to get his attention. This allows Darius to hit the super kick while Mansoor's distracted to get Dante tagged in. Pretty much the only other point of note was the finish where Dante gets the win with a crossover crossbody. So pretty nothing match. To be honest, this whole week you can skip. I watched the Top Flight MXM match, but that I'm very biased towards MXM. Other than that, I mean, if you don't really care about them that much, you can just skip the whole week. To be honest, but Rampage. But regardless, that ends that Rampage segment. Now move on to the Collision part of the show. The end of it, pretty much. So the Collision this week starts with a Britt Baker versus Harley Cameron match. Kind of a nothing match. There wasn't really anything to talk about for this match. The only point of note is that Britt Baker goes for the lockjaw, but gets countered into a flying knee for the 2 count. And that Baker wins the match after she hits a swing blade into a curb stomp to get the 3 count. Mercedes Moné then comes out. Moné sends Camille after Britt. Britt grabs a kendo stick but fails to hit Camille as Camille breaks the stick in 2 and hits Britt with a massive punt kick. Camille gets Britt Baker draped over her shoulder into the ring and then hits a flatliner to faceplant Britt down as Mercedes stands on Britt, holding up the TBS Championship. Next up, we have an All in Texas vignette with Dustin Rhodes just pretty much talking about it. Obviously, if you haven't heard already, All In next year will not be at Wembley Stadium, it will be in Texas. I'm happy that it's in another place. I was hoping for a Mexico City or like a Brazil or Puerto Rico, something like that. Rome would be quite fun as well, but I can understand Texas. Texas works as well, to be honest. But next up, speaking of Texas, we have a Dustin Rhodes and Sammy Guevara versus Mike Taven and Matt Bennett match. This is for the Ring of Honor Tag Team Championships. Nothing much of note to talk about this match. We had Sammy like teasing a springboard moonsault, but doesn't as Takeda run away. Both Sammy and Dustin do the Spinneroonie pose in the center of the ring. Sammy Guevara hits an amazing Spanish fly from the top rope. Looks really, really nice. Dustin takes on both members at some point with a Canadian Destroyer to finish it. And then eventually the Kingdom try a spike pile driver, but Sammy hits a top rope bulldog to Matt Taven, and then Dustin hits a spinning suplex to Mike. Sammy then sentons Mike for Dustin to pin Mike Bennett for the 3 count to crown the new Ring of Honor Tag Team Champions. Pretty okay match. There wasn't really anything big to make note of, so even though I haven't got a lot of notes on there, it wasn't a terrible match. It was just there wasn't really a lot to talk about. It's the only thing. After this match, we then get another Danielson Swerve vignette, where multiple members of the AEW roster and the staff say who they think they will win. So I thought it was quite nice to get all these different wrestlers' opinion on the match, who they're putting their chips in, who they're willing to go all in for. It ends with Nigel McGuinness saying Swerve will win, and Danielson will go crying into that lonely, lonely night. Really fun vignette. Really like that. I wish they did it more for main event. I wish companies just did it more anyway. Just ask the wrestlers what their opinion on a match coming up, like a big match. I feel like that would be really fun. Following this, there's a learning tree interview with Renee where Jericho says Hook's stupid to challenge him and that he's going to blind his other eye too. Jericho then also calls out Tommy Billington, calling him entitled, says that the OG Dynamite Kid wouldn't like Tommy. Jericho had to work for everything and didn't get TV time for years, and Tommy Billington is here getting it right from the get-go. Jericho says he'll tear Tommy apart branch by branch, and that on Dynamite, the Dynamite Kid will be Dynamite done. That is for this week. I'm pretty sure it's this week anyway. Jericho versus Tommy Billington in Wales, Cardiff. Obviously hoping to get that hometown, even though he's not Wales, he's English, but regardless. He might actually be Canadian, I'm not sure. Anyway, there's a Hologram versus Angelico and Serpentico match, or Angelico with Serpentico, sorry. Where you pretty much just have Angelico trying to ground Hologram with holes, but Hologram getting out of them with his speed and athleticism over and over again. The only sort of notable point of this match was that Hologram avoiding Angelico in the corner by going through the ropes, over the ropes, then back through them again, 3 or 4 times, until he eventually hits an enziguri from the apron, then a Hurricane Rana from the top ropes. It's really, really nice. Angelico gets a 2.9 with a roll-up later on in the match. Also, another incredible spot and a bit of athleticism. Hologram, Angelico is bent down as if he's just been hit by a low blow. Not a low blow, a kick to the midsection. Hologram jumps on his back, then as Angelico stands up, Hologram jumps up and over into a powerbomb position then on top of Angelico. And then converts that into a Poison Rana, leading into multiple pin counters for multiple 2 counts. Hologram gets the win shortly after this pin fest with a roll-through crucifix pin to get the 3 count. Very, very nice. Quite a fun match. There was, again, it's like the other one. There's not much to talk about, but it doesn't mean it's a bad match. After this, we then get a Tiger Driver 91 vignette, talk about the history of the move and the creator, Mitsuhara Osawa. I think that's how you say his name. Apologies if I butchered that. And how it retired with him until Ospreay hit the Tiger Driver to Kenny Omega at Forbidden Door, and how Ospreay never wants to hit the move again. I would really like Ospreay to hit the move and just be done with it. That heel turn's going to hit like crack, because he's going to break everyone's neck. It's going to be great. After this, we get a Jack Perry, Danny O'Ryan match. Literally nothing. Perry wins with a running knee within 2 minutes. He comes out with the TNT belt, obviously, throws the TNT belt back into the ring as he's getting out, unveils a body bag with Darby sprayed in white spray paint over it. He then sprays Danny Orion's face half white, like Darby Allin's, puts him in the body bag along with the TNT title, and then unveils a new TNT title, which is full black with like blood stains along the front. Looks so good. Really, really nice belt design. Whole point of the match was really just to announce that new belt design. Really hope he wins at Wembley so we can keep that one. It looks so much better than the like normal TNT belt. Really, really good. Actually, if you look on Twitter, you can see a little like cut up video of how Jack Perry made it as well. Really cool. He actually smelted it himself. Fucking props to the guy while he was suspended. He took up blacksmithing. But after this, we then get a House of Black and Bang Bang Gang promo, where like each one cuts in between and like finishes the sentence, carries on the promo, all of that. Where they talk about Cage screwing them. Mainly just talks about Chris and Cage screwing them. It finishes with Christopher Daniels announcing that it will be a 4-team ladder match with the House of Black, the Bang Bang Gang, the Patriarchy, and a 4th team that will be decided in a wildcard match on Cardiff's Collision just before All In. Very fun. Following this, we then get a Claudio versus Lio Rush match with Top Flight and Axel Andretti coming out for Lio Rush's entrance but not staying. Deciding to go back into the locker room. Whole match is pretty much just Claudio overpowering, the best word for it, overpowering Lio Rush, and Lio Rush trying to use his quickness and agility to get out of those holds and stuff like that. Claudio starts with 2 big backbreakers and then a hold over the leg, stretching the back as well. Was a scary point of the match where Claudio like hoists Lio up and nearly fucking drops him on his head, but thankfully both of them like got out of it without a concussion, thank god. It looked terrifying. Lio gets caught in a giant swing at some point and is just completely out. Crowd chants one more time, another giant swing. Crowd chants one more time, another giant swing. Lio Rush gets swung like 22 times or something like that during this segment. He's fucking nuts. He can't even kneel, let alone stand. He's just on the floor, dead. Following this, a little bit later on into the match, we get a bit where they're outside. Lio is like running at Claudio while Claudio's at the barricade and gets just launched. Lio Rush gets launched straight over the barricade, about like 8 feet past the barricade, nearly at the steps where the fans are. Looks fucking nuts. When it cuts back to it, barely gets back into the ring at a 9 count, only to be hit by a European uppercut for the 2.9. Lio rolls up Claudio after some quick strikes and gets a 2.9. But then Lio tries a somersault but misses, gets thrown into the air with an elevated European uppercut for Claudio to get the 3 count and the win. Building up momentum for his match this week against Okada for the Continental Championship belt. After this, we then get a Chris Statlander and Stokely Hathaway promo, where Stokely starts talking, Chris interrupts him immediately. Chris says Ishii is scary, tough, and crazy, but Chris is all that and more. And Stokely also announces that the winner of this match will get to decide the stipulation for all out between Willow Nightingale and Chris Statlander. It'll be quite fun. Stokely also says he's the Stone Pitbull now, and then starts barking like a chihuahua until Chris takes the mic away from him and walks away. Very, very fun promo. Like, I love these two so much. Speaking of promo, we then get a Kingston promo from home as well, where he says he's still messed up, and that the Bryan Danielson he sees now is different from the one that he saw in the past with Kenta in Ring of Honor, from the one that beat him up all the time, and that this Bryan is disrespectful to the sport and that he's going to lose because of it, because the fire's gone and Danielson just doesn't have it anymore. Danielson needs to figure this out and get his head in the game, or it's all going to be for nothing, and there's no point even turning up. So big words from Eddie Kingston there. Also, I really like the Kingston's. I feel like that fits really, really well. Following this, we then get a Mariah May versus London Dior match. May hits a hip attack and then Storm Zero and wins in literally less than a minute. The lights cut out as Toni Storm presents a film, My Final Gift. Toni says she's talked to the doctor and that she says she's depressed. The doctor says go see the clown, but Toni re-enters with her like usual attire after stripping the old one off. Says that the River Thames will run red with her blood and that it's time to give Wembley a show. May's response to this is to begin hitting London in the head with the shoe and then kissing her just like she did Toni Storm, going to the kiss of death by the commentators previously. But next up, we have our main event, FTR versus the Acclaimed with Billy Gunn. Where pretty much quite really fun match actually. It started out a bit slow, but it really got into it later on. We've got like Billy Gunn contemplating to hit Dax with a cheap shot, but eventually doesn't. Bowen's hitting a rock paper scissors shoot as the Acclaimed try a tag move, but Cash saves Dax. We get Dax putting Caster. No, sorry. Bowen's getting put in the sharpshooter by Dax, and Caster tries to save him, but is held back by Cash. Bowen saves Caster after Caster's in the sharpshooter. I'm having a stroke. The sharpshooter. Caster's in the sharpshooter, and then Bowen saves Caster by hitting a famouser onto Dax for the 2.999, literally like as close as it can get. Fucking nuts. Every wrestler is down at this point in the match. The crowd is like fully on their feet. Everyone's standing up. The announcer says there's 5 minutes left of this 30-minute match, where Cash hits a mean-looking DDT onto the apron to Caster. Dax gets Bowens up for the superplex then as Cash hits the splash onto Bowens, and then dives out to take care of Caster as well. Dax goes to pin Bowens, but only gets a 2 count. Then her tag team wrestling chants. Dax and Bowens proceed to start doing heavy elbow fests. FTR set up for the Shatter Machine on Bowens, but Caster lies waiting to take it out. The Acclaimed then hit the Shatter Machine onto Dax, get the 2.9. Caster hits the mic drop on Dax. But Bowens has to pin, so Caster runs to stop Cash as Bowen pins, but Cash charges Caster. Does that make sense? Cash charges Max Caster onto the pin, breaking it up. 2.9, literally last second once again. At this point, all 4 members are in the ring. They all start hitting each other with heavy strikes while they're kneeling. Both stand and start striking more. Cash is sent over the top rope by Cash Wheeler. As FTR hits the Shatter Machine on Bowens. Caster has to jump through the ropes and gets like caught on the second rope and just barely gets the pin broken up. There is now 1 minute remaining in this match. Caster and Dax then tried roll-ups against each other. Each get a 2.9. Caster and Dax strike each other down, and Cash dives on Bowens outside. The bell rings after Caster kicks out, so it ends in a draw. So this means that it will now be Tony Khan says to Shivani to announce that it will be a triple tag match between the Acclaimed, the Young Bucks, and the FDR. Billy Gunn tries to play peacemaker at this point between the two teams, but Dax strikes Billy Gunn instead, and they all just start brawling until Tony Schiavone breaks up the fight with that announcement. Sorry, it got like a bit fell apart at the end there. It's very like hard match to take notes on and coherently say stuff about, as most tag matches like this are. But I love them. But yeah, that's the end of Collision and the end of the August 15th to 18th show last week. The end of your All Elite week. Hope you enjoyed it. Quite fun. For Collision, by the way, I would skip the Britt Baker Harley Cameron match. I'd watch the Dustin Rhodes Sammy Guevara match. Versus Mike Taven and Matt Bennett for the Ring of Honor tag titles. Just because it was a fun match, and also now Dustin Rhodes has the Ring of Honor tag belts and the Trios tag belts as well. Hologram and Helico, always skip. Perry Danny, skip. Claudio Leo Rush, I'd watch. That match was really, really fun. And then FTR versus the Acclaimed, they put on a fucking amazing match as well. Really, really good match the whole way through. Wasn't boring at all. And I'm really, really excited actually for that triple tag team match. But anyway, again, sorry for the late upload this week. Hopefully, with me going to the Cardiff show and going to Wembley, I'll be able to get the other one up in a reasonable time at some point. I won't be covering All In for this All Elite week. They'll be coming up for this week, or next week, I guess, when it's coming up. I won't be covering that in that episode because me, Noah, and Liam will be doing a podcast episode on it. There will also be a predictions video coming out Friday? I think Friday. It's being recorded Thursday, so I think Friday. But anyway, thank you very much for watching. I hope you enjoyed your All Elite week, and as always, enjoy your AWTV.